Welcome to the Orgasmic Lifestyle Podcast by Venus O'Hara. I'm here to welcome you into the world of orgasmic living by hosting experts to discuss orgasmic topics such as nutrition, spirituality, personal development, sexuality, and much more. Here, we will offer lifestyle lessons that can help you lead a fulfilling, joyous, and orgasmic lifestyle. I'm your guide, Venus O'Hara. Welcome to the 29th episode of the Orgasmic Lifestyle Podcast by Venus O'Hara. In this new moon episode, I'll be discussing psychics, future plans, and more. We'll be speaking to Colby Rebel, a psychic medium who has been voted Best Psychic of Los Angeles 2022. She'll also be giving me a reading. Wow, I'm so excited. Then I'll be discussing the book I'm reading now, which is The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And finally, we'll be experiencing a guided meditation with affirmations for the future. But first, let's talk about my own experience with psychics and future plans. I must confess that I'm not someone who really thinks about distant future very much. I don't think about it to the point where I actually start making plans about it. I kind of tend to go with the flow in my life. But I think we all worry about the future to some degree and worry that we might be lonely, we might be poor, things like that. And it kind of takes us away from the present moment. But I was watching a film the other day, I can't remember what it was called now. Was it Look the Other Way? It was kind of like a modern day sliding doors. And they were talking about 5-year plans. And I was thinking, I've never in my life done a 5-year plan. I think I'd like to kind of let myself be open to different things and kind of gone with the flow. And I like to surprise myself. I like people and things and circumstances to surprise me. And yeah, everything has flowed for me. But sometimes I think I might have benefited from a bit more structure or intention at some moments of my life. As you probably know, I practice sex magic, and that is the only thing that I do that kind of gets me into a future space, is trying to manifest things in my near future using sexual energy and orgasmic energy. It's very important with sex magic not to try and manifest things that are too far in advance, because many things can change from here to a year from now, or 2 years, or 5 years, or 10 years. We just don't know. And the thing you might want to be manifesting, you might not want that, because circumstances will inevitably change for most people, that is. Especially for me, I'm quite a changing person anyway, all the time. I mean, what I like now is very different to what I used to like 5 years ago or 10 years ago. But I do like to have some kind of objectives about, let's say, the next 6 months, or the next week, the next month, etc. But I do like to have a little space open to changing things. And I've actually manifested some amazing things over the last 4 to 5 years. And if you're interested in actually connecting with me for some one-to-one magic mentoring, then let me know. You can contact me on my website, venusohara.org. But let's talk a little bit about psychics. It's kind of exciting to go to a psychic and have tarot readings and palm readings and things like that. I'm very intrigued by this world, and I don't really go with a plan or a kind of set of questions myself, or even an area that I want to focus on. I know many people do, but for me, I like to let the person speak to me, and kind of I'm open to learning about any topic of my life, and I find it quite exciting. But I think there's something inside us that seeks answers from other people and from external circumstances, when oftentimes the answers can be inside of us, or maybe it can be difficult to sense them sometimes. But it's very interesting and kind of very intriguing to go to a psychic. I think it must be taken with caution, not to go too often, and not to rely on that type of help, although it can be very, very therapeutic if you go to the right people, of course. I've been to psychics several times in my life. I remember the first time I was a teenager, and there was a famous tarot reader in Manchester where I grew up, and I can't remember how much it cost. It was like £10, which was a lot of money for me back then. And we could actually record it as well. And I don't remember anything about what the reading was, but it was just kind of nice to be focused on me for about, I don't know, half an hour or something like that, and have someone tell me what they saw in my cards. And after that, I've always been attracted to that world. I have my own tarot deck now. Like, it was actually given to me as a gift from another tarot reader several years ago when I was on TV. And at first I was a little bit intimidated by these cards because I kind of learned how to do my own readings. And sometimes I would do a reading, I didn't quite like the cards that came up, and I would try and redo it. Then the same cards would come up. I remember this happened to me on one occasion, maybe 3 times. The moon card came up, and I was thinking, I don't want that. And it just kept coming up. And I had this deck of cards on my shelf for many years. And now in the last few months, I've been doing a card of the day reading every morning, and I find it quite exciting. And it does seem that my day does kind of correspond to the card that I choose, but that could be open to interpretation, as if maybe I am, influencing the events around me based on my expectations from the card. So who knows, really. But there are some cards that I look forward to more than others. For example, there's one that's the Tower, which for many people can be the most dreaded card. It's a card of, kind of destruction, things being knocked down. And I've had that a few times over the last month or so. But what's interesting about that is on those days, I've had great things happen to me. For example, I've been on dates, or I've been flirting with people, or something that's kind of a bit unlike what's typical for me. And that's the kind of destruction that I am welcoming, the kind of destruction of these old plans that are no longer serving me. And it's a lot of change going on in my life right now. And today the card was Temperance. So I quite like that card, about a high vibing but trying to kind of stay grounded. So that's a nice card to have as well. Another card which has been challenging for me, I've had a few times, is the Devil. Dun, dun, dun. And on those days I've found that I've really been pushed to my limit. But I'm quite a calm person, so I've been able to deal with the challenges in a good way. But it's kind of like, oh no, when I see that card. Also, the Death card is a card that some people dread, but that's just a card of, I always tend to be optimistic anyway and just see new beginnings. And I went to see a psychic healer last summer, actually. I went on a yoga retreat in the south of France. And I felt at the time, I'd just broken up with someone. I felt that I did need some guidance, I suppose. And just after the pandemic, I felt so lonely, spending so much time alone, spending time with one guy who was a fantastic person, but he wasn't my future. So I kind of felt a little bit trapped in a way. I don't know if trapped is the right word, but in a relationship that was not going to be my future, but I so needed him in my then present. And it did feel a little bit weird, a little bit inauthentic, but at the same time I didn't really know what else to do in the circumstances of a pandemic. But as soon as that was over, I kind of we separated, and then I had to reconstruct my social life, which had been on pause for a year and a half. And I've really been focusing on that. But it's taken a while to get to the point where it is now, which is really exciting. Now I'm going out nearly every night. I have fantastic people around me, people who really inspire me. But last summer I was still in a kind of down phase, and I went on a yoga retreat to try and find myself. And it was a fantastic experience, just being in the south of France, which is an area I haven't discovered as much as I'd like to, because it's not so far from here, because I'm in Barcelona, Spain. As the bird flies, it's not very far, but to get there, it's a little bit more complicated on trains. I think I had to get 3 trains and a bus or something like that. Anyway, in this retreat, though, everyone in this village was talking about a certain psychic healer who was just everyone went to, and it was very difficult to get an appointment with her, and she was always spot on with her readings. And I thought, yeah, I fancy a bit of that. So I went to her house, and I was lucky to get an appointment with her. And as soon as I went in, I just felt this whole sensation of absolute calm and a release, really. I just started crying, and she had a very calming voice. And it was going to be an hour-long session. And I didn't really tell her much, but she told me a lot about myself, about my lineage, about my traumas, my future, and things like that. And I did find it to be quite a healing process. And she told me that I was clairsentient, which I do feel actually more and more. And she told me that I needed to fix my back, and then my clairvoyance or how would I say, skills, I'm not sure if that's the right word, will kind of kick into place. And now I've been doing lots of acupuncture. So I had this issue with my hip sacroiliac joint pain for a long time, but now it's all fine thanks to acupuncture. But I feel I'm on a kind of spiritual upward spiral, continuously growing and evolving, and my intuition is just getting better and better, and I can kind of see things in people around me of their future. I don't really I can't really predict people's futures, but I can kind of sense certain things around me, and it gets clearer and clearer all the time, and also things that concern other people in my life, and it's kind of I just feel quite in tune would be the best way to describe it. And also she said some things about my love life that has been evolving quite slowly. I do think there is an order to things. I mean, first and foremost, I was focusing on social life and friendships, which has been the case over the last year. And just recently I'm getting back into dating, which is just amazing. And I've been attracting lots of conscious men into my life, which is fantastic, even though I'm not really quite ready to meet a serious partner right now. But I'm really enjoying masculine energy in my space and having dates and great conversations and just enjoying masculine, the divine masculine. And then she also told me to kind of connect more with the divine feminine, because I guess I've been in a very masculine space for a lot of my life. I've been a doer, a kind of very independent woman, which is fantastic, of course. But ever since then, it just seemed to make sense to me to try and be in a more flow state and try and make more of an effort with the feminine appearance. I've been wearing dresses more, just paying attention to that side of me. And I've also been attracting more females into my life. And it's interesting that the females I'm attracting are alpha women who wear jewelry and dresses, which is kind of cool, really, because we have a perception maybe of the females being not very alpha or not. But I'm meeting lots of very successful women who are really, really feminine at the same time. So that really inspires me to see a strong female role models that are very feminine as well. It's very inspiring to me. So, and I'm very excited about the reading I will receive from Colby Rebel today, because it's so exciting to speak to someone who's also a psychic medium and an award-winning psychic medium, and I'm excited to see what she sees in my future, and I'm going to be sharing it all with you today. So let's see how it goes. Did you know that you can use your sexual energy to manifest the life of your dreams? It's called sex magic. I've been practicing sex magic for almost 5 years, and it's changed my life. If you're interested in one-to-one magic mentoring with me, visit my website venusohara.org to find out more. Now it's time for this episode's interview. I'm going to be speaking with Colby Rebel, who is a psychic medium, spiritual teacher, and author. Okay, Colby, welcome to the Orgasmic Lifestyle Podcast. Thank you so much for taking part in this interview today. I've been really looking forward to speaking with you.
Thank you, Venus. It's so good to meet you in person here, or virtually anyway. So thank you so much for having me.
So tell us a bit about what you do. You have the gift of communicating with the spirit world. What does that mean exactly? You're a psychic and a medium.
So for me, as a psychic and a medium, it is the ability to have soul communication. So whether that's soul communication for someone in the physical realm or soul communication for someone on the other side, I have the ability to speak to them. So as a psychic, I have the ability to connect to someone in the living, to go into your life, what's going on, what are your deepest thoughts, feelings, what's what are you going through at the moment? What is something about your life purpose? What's coming in for you? What's in the future? So it's really that ability for my soul to talk to your soul. And then for mediumistically, that's my ability for my soul to connect to and speak to the soul of someone on the other side, to really share what they're like, maybe things they enjoy, perhaps anything that was left unsaid, a message they want to bring forward. So it's really this beautiful combination of being a communicator all around.
So can you have a psychic reading without contacting spirits then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yes. So some people say, oh, it's my guides talking to your guide, but I don't work that way. It's literally my soul talking to your soul.
So tell us a bit about your journey. When did you discover this gift and how has it been for you? Because it's only been quite recently that you have been doing this full time. Is that correct?
So what's really crazy about it is I've had this gift, or the awareness of the gift, since I was 4 years old as a small child. But I just thought, or we all thought, everybody did it. We certainly didn't think there was anything special about it. So I went through my life. I was a professional wrestler. I was an accountant for many years. And about 10 years ago, that calling became overwhelming. It became such a pull that really everything else in my life faded away until I listened to this and honored it. So I've been doing this professionally for about 10 years now.
So does it feel like having a really strong sense of intuition?
It goes beyond intuition, because we all have intuition, and that's our fight or flight. It may be that kind of flash of insight that we get, that little nudge that we may feel. So that's our intuition, and we all get that. And maybe some of us are learning to listen to it more, but we all have that. Psychic is really taking it beyond that, where you may have that nudge, but you'll know the next steps after, or you'll know why you're getting the nudge, or you're able to kind of put it together to create a stronger stream of thought and action.
I'm really intrigued about your book called Leap of Faith, How to Build Your Business. I read some of the description. It was about not being too, I think, airy-fairy, you said,
Yeah.
and being more grounded. I think this is a big thing in spirituality and business, isn't it? And money especially. People don't want to put the two together, or on one side, people don't want to charge for their gifts. And then on the terrible side, people are kind of like taking advantage of vulnerable people.
Yes.
So how do you find
Yes.
these two worlds of, let's say,
The balance. So for me, the reason I kind of talk about the airy-fairy is because I'm not airy-fairy. I'm from New Jersey. It's just kind of straight shooter. That's just how I grew up. That's my personality, giving it to you direct. And as I first entered into this spiritual community, at that time, it was so much that everybody had to be airy-fairy, if you were light and fluffy. And so I really didn't fit in. It was almost as if some people were trying to project that I wasn't spiritual simply because I wasn't chanting or wasn't wearing my goddess gown or whatever the case may be. And so for me, I wanted to show people, no, Spirit chooses you for who you are. You don't have to fit into this mold that other light workers are telling you you need to fit in. And so that's really what it's about. Now, there is a business savvy. If you are going to do this professionally, there has to be a business savvy to it. And when we serve, you're using the right side of your brain. You're using the creative side to make those connections, whether it's your intuition, psychic, mediumship, you're tapping in. So it's the complete opposite of your business side. So I just find, as whether you're an artist, a singer, a writer, a creator, for the most part, having that business savvy may not be as natural unless you just are able to use both sides of your brain. So I try to help people, teach them to say, okay, for the business side, let's use a little bit of that left side to really help you build so that you have that confidence to know that you can be successful, that you can live your life doing something that you're passionate about and that you want to do. But I'm also a huge believer that I believe that in order to have longevity, there has to be this passion for being of service. If you don't have that passion for being of service, I think it's going to be very difficult to have longevity, because there has to be an authenticity and integrity around the practice of what we do.
And also it's an energy exchange, because it takes a lot to actually get so connected to another person, I can imagine.
Yes, absolutely. It sure does, yes.
And I've had a very fun job as well, and I've met people over the years who think it's more authentic to work for free. You know what I mean? What do you think about?
Yeah.
I'm sure that happens in your business as well. What do you think?
Well, I think with anything, any business or strong business, there's a portion of what they do that is donated towards charity, right? And so I feel like we can absolutely allocate some of our time and gift to those who aren't in a situation to afford it. Now, the way I do that is to be of service. So, for instance, whether that's being of service at a spiritual church and offering, doing a demonstration and volunteering for a few free readings, or I have my own podcast, the Colby Rebel Show. So every Thursday night, or most Thursday nights, I'm taking callers randomly and giving them these free short mini readings. So that's my giving back to the community. That doesn't mean that I have to struggle in order to do what I love. I think that is that mentality, right? The artist struggles, right? And it's what we tell people, but that's simply a mindset. And I don't believe that we should be guilted into working for free, no matter what it is we do.
So you're still giving people readings before you do this full time? Were you giving people readings, or did you just have?
Oh yeah. So I started out right, but I mean, at first I didn't even realize they were reading. Back in college, and I mean, now I realize they were readings. But at the time, I just thought, I was just talking to them and sharing things. Now obviously I work a little bit more responsibly, because I'm aware of, like, wait a second, you can't just go out to someone and give them a reading without their consent. We can't impose what we do. And so even if I'm out and about, because there are times that Spirit's going to knock on that door. And in that experience, I still will always ask someone for permission if it's okay if I connect for them, or that I'm receiving something, or they open to hearing it, and if not, it's okay.
Do you find that some people are more easier to read than others?
I believe so, only because if someone chooses to be very closed off, then I don't have permission. So even if they say yes, sure, but yet they're closed off, their soul is closed off, then I don't have permission. So you need that permission in order to have that communication.
So what about?
So it is yes means yes and no means no.
And how do you find the difference in, let's say, online readings compared to in person? Do you find much difference in terms of how to connect with the person you're reading?
No, and that's been really, since the pandemic, one of the biggest questions, right? Because so many clients have moved remotely, whether that's Zoom, phone, or in person. The in-person experience is nice only because you have that physical experience, that you're in the physical realm, very close proximity to one another. And some people just like to feel that energy. But as far as the reading or the connection, no, the Zoom is just as effective, because it really is that soul, right? It's that soul-to-soul connection.
So have you met, let's say, so figuratively speaking, or any interesting spirits over the years that had personalities that are quite memorable? Any?
Yeah, there's been quite a few experiences that I've had that I felt just in awe of the spirit world and how it works. I mean, one particular instance was I had a reading with a woman, and it was her brother that came in. And just as the reading progressed and speaking to him, I realized that he had taken the lives of his own two children and then taken his own life. So it's very, very tragic. And he had such remorse and sorry, and was just trying to explain what he had been going through. And so that was very interesting, because I think that a lot of people may have judgment towards him, right? A lot of people, I don't know if they would have been non-judgmental, but in order to do this, you have to be so non-judgmental when you're connecting to spirit. And I could completely understand what he had been going through. It doesn't justify what happened, but it certainly gives us empathy to go, wow, someone could really be in pain and in that moment think something's right, and really to understand that maybe it isn't. So there is that. There was once, when I first started, before I was really doing it professionally, there was one experience where I was living in my townhome, and I kept hearing my neighbor, and I didn't know him too well. His name was Randy, about 55, I think, and I didn't know him too well. I didn't talk to him very much, but all I kept hearing was, go get Randy, he's dying, he's dying. So long story short, I tried to go over there, and I couldn't get in, so I called 911. I just decided to call.
Wow.
I mean, looking back, to me, it's so crazy, but in that moment, it seemed to make sense, right? Because I'm just listening to this lady speak. And so anyhow, the police officers come, and they said we can break the door, but I saw a little window open. I said, can we just go through the window? So they lift me up to put me through this window because they couldn't fit. And sure enough, I walk around and I get into the living room, and there he was in his recliner. Eyes are open, and he's just passed away. And I could just hear the lady, who was his mother, who I did know his mother, say, thank you, my boy is not alone now. And she just didn't, because he lived alone, she just didn't want him to be there all by himself, passed away. She wanted him to be found. It was so crazy. And I don't have it right here, but we came in and as volunteers helped to kind of clean out that townhome. And I came across this little kind of coin, and I knew it was for me, and it was a cutout of an angel with wings. And it's just
wow.
like this coin, and it says an angel on my shoulder. And I was like, I know that was for me. And so I still have it to this day.
Wow. Has it ever been scary for you over the years, this gift?
No, never scary. Never scary, because they don't make me feel like it's scary. They make me feel like I'm always safe and I'm always taken care of, and that this is all just about helping and healing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let me find another. So do you have any advice for people who think they might be psychic about how to start a business in this?
Yes, develop, practice. I'm very much, in a way, a perfectionist. I believe even if our gift is natural and we can do it, we can absolutely develop it, to hone it, to make it stronger. And I believe that we can also strengthen our business skills to just help us create something that is rewarding and energetically imbalanced and financially successful, so that you're getting everything that is rewarding, and you're also putting in the work to give your client the best possible experience that you can.
So do you say like to do lots of like kind of free readings maybe perhaps, just to try and practice the tools, or would that be something?
Well, I feel that I definitely feel like taking classes with reputable teachers. Find reputable, because, in this day and age, everyone is kind of just teaching. Everyone is offering a workshop, and there's a lot, or people are holding circles, development circles, but yet, I can just see that they don't have the experience. I mean, if you're going to teach, it's a whole other understanding, and it's a whole other level to really teach so that you can help someone grow and prosper and tune in and do it safely. And so I feel like just find someone who's reputable and someone you respect to learn from them. And especially as a business, right? And rather than just take any business, find someone who is successful, who's doing it. And yeah, they may be a little bit more expensive, but there's probably a reason. You know, they've worked really hard and they have studied hard. But I feel that when we do that and we are able to study and learn, it helps you build your confidence, it helps you get practice. Then eventually you'll be able to maybe do volunteer readings outside of it. And you'll be able to really get that experience that way as you progress. And then you can slowly begin to charge as you feel comfortable doing so.
Are there any tools that you use, such as tarot cards, crystal balls, or anything like that?
No, and I don't use any because I'm a big believer we don't need them. Now I have some, I have some cards and all that sometimes maybe for fun, or if I have a friend over, or maybe if I'm doing an exercise in a workshop or a class, just to mix it up, more to mix it up than anything. But regardless, if you're doing psychometry, you're using tarot, oracle, angel cards, crystal, whatever you're using, at the end of the day, you don't really need those. If you're really having that communication and that pure communication, then it's going to flow for you. So I really teach my students to trust what they're getting. And if you want to use cards after you already know how to do it without any tools, then that's fine. But they're more for, maybe validation or for fun. But I don't believe that we need those in order to connect or to communicate.
So how has this gift helped you in your life?
Ooh, well, I think it can help and be a hindrance at
Okay.
times. I definitely know that it helps me know who to trust or what direction to go into or when a decision feels right. It helps me to know if I'm on the right path or but it also continuously challenges me. Continuously, I'm being challenged and I understand that and it forces you to work on your own stuff, right? If whatever is left from a past life, this life, past experience, whatever it is, you will constantly be forced to purge what no longer serves your highest good in order to help someone else. You have to be vulnerable and open to do your own deep work before you can help someone else. So there's a lot to it. There are times too where it's really helped me avoid, I believe, a dangerous situation that sometimes we can find ourselves in. But having that intuition and learning when to trust it, I think, is really imperative for us in our soul growth.
And are there any things that you don't tell someone in a reading? Where are the boundaries? Are there things you will not communicate that you might see?
Me, there's a difference. If I see it, I give it.
Okay.
So I think we have a duty to give what you see, but to also make sure that we are being positive, or as positive as we can be under the circumstances. I don't feel that we have a right to squash someone's hope.
Okay.
I don't feel like we that's not fair because someone always has free will to do something they can to try to change the outcome. And so it's not up to us to go, no. Now, at the end of the day, if I'm getting something, I will share it. I don't feel like I don't go into telling you when you're going to die or if you're getting into this accident. Like, how is that going to help you? Mm-hmm. If I say, oh my goodness, and I've heard people do this and I find it to be so destructive because are they really getting it? Or are they being sensational? Or are they being kind of creating fear? But, I see in a year from now, you're going to get in a really bad car accident. Be careful driving. Now, the recipient they're absolutely going to worry. That's all they're going to think about. And somewhere, some way, they're going to figure out how to manifest that, right? Their energy will. Just just through fear. And so I think it's important. I'm not afraid of death. If there are people who are terminal, who have gotten a reading from me, they know that they're dying. And so this isn't about when you're dying, but this is about talking about, is there anything your soul needs to know to help you be at peace? And for some people, they didn't get to everything they wanted to do, and to just find calm and peace in that, or how to connect and continue that communication after they're gone, or is their family going to be okay? Regardless of what it is, I've had quite a few clients, and what's incredible, and something was more recent. There was one client a few years ago, and there was one more recently. I'll try to remember who it was, but one client a few years ago, she had gotten a few readings from me over time, and we knew she was coming to an end, and she wasn't very old, but unbeknownst to me, she had told her family members that when she passes, for them to come to me, I would be able to communicate with her. And I didn't know it, but so when one of them had a session, it was unbelievable, the session and the healing and what came through, and it was interesting because he's like, this was my sister who told me only you could communicate. And more recently, I had the same experience with someone else, and to me, I think what an honor. If you think about that, Venus, right? Think about someone is on the physical deathbed, right? They're on that physical deathbed, and they're saying, look, this is the one thing I have. One of my dying wishes, one thing is go talk to Colby, go see Colby. Like, to trust in me, to trust. It just gives me goosebumps. It's like, wow, that's pretty powerful stuff. And so that's why I think we have to have a lot of integrity around what we do, and not to forget the importance of what we're doing.
Absolutely. So when someone goes, let's say, for a psychic reading, how often do you think is the recommended, or how long do you think it lasts for, and how often should people be having readings if they want to have readings?
I think it really depends. I feel like you'll get that nudge when it's time. So I may have someone come once a year for their check-in, maybe 6 months for a check-in. It could be 2 or 3. It just depends. I have someone, if they're going through something at the moment, they may come a little bit more frequently, because in a way for them, it's a little bit kind of like an accountability coach or a life, just to kind of help them move through an experience that they may be going through. And then once they're through it, then they just go on their way. It just depends. So I feel like it's lit for someone to listen to themselves, or are they feeling they need it? I encourage people always to make their own decisions. I don't make decisions for someone in a reading. I will tell you what I'm seeing, what I'm getting, what I'm feeling. And if there's a decision to make, I will help you say, okay, there's this path and this path. This is what this one looks like. This is what this one looks like. These are your options. I encourage you, but I don't make the decision. And we can't do that. I can't go around creating divorces, babies, changing someone's life course. I think all we can do is empower someone the best of our ability for what we're seeing. And getting someone to trust their own decision making is really important. Because if you don't learn how to trust your own decision making, I'm going to be a crutch, right? You're always going to need me. And although some light workers think that's okay, I don't think that that's okay. I want to empower you to be able to trust what you're getting and receiving. I'm here to help you see it.
I love your book, by the way. I'm using it every morning.
Oh, isn't it fun?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Because I was gonna do it in order, but then I thought, if I read the page on the left, I'll see the one on the right. I didn't want to do it like that. So now I'm just doing it random. It's really cool. The message today was about the soul assignment.
Oh, I love it. That's interesting. I love it.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I'll pull one for you. Let's see what it is for you. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Oh, this is really narcissists love to play mind games. They think they're smarter than you. They'll manipulate any situation in order to make their viewpoint the right ones. Many times a narcissist will try their best to make you feel guilty. It's important for you to stand your ground and own your truth in these confrontational encounters.
Wow.
So it's kind of like really, that's really interesting, isn't it? So we may have some experiences, past or present, as a reminder. Hey, we don't go backwards. Let's stand our ground for who we are today, huh?
Yeah, definitely. I've been upgrading my friend circles, and I've been realizing that I have not had enough self-love. I've been an overgiver, and sometimes I'm kind of like getting out of those patterns now. But I had a couple of dreams about a friend. I have a dream journal as well, because it's just I had this dreams like with intuition was telling me this girl is a bit of a user, even though she's not really done anything. And the message yesterday was like, when you know from your book. I can't remember which one. So I'm just thinking, oh, yeah. I think I went to a psychic healer last year, and she was telling me that I was clairsentient, and I could. So it was like I feel like I'm really getting more and more connected to my own intuition about people. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing, just to go back to that with that person, you feel that the feeling you have, and that's what we have to trust, right? Because most people will take their mind and dismiss it. No, that's just you. You're being paranoid. You have to give her a chance. Look, you're being mean. Come on. And this is the part where we have to trust that underlying current that we are tapping into.
Fantastic. So should we start my reading now?
Yeah. Your reading, yes.
I'm really excited.
What's interesting is one of the things I had first gotten was actually all about that self-love and that it's time for you. So as I kind of go into it, Venus, I really just feel that there is a separation happening. And I believe there's a separation from your old self to your new self. And I feel like the new self is really stepping into your personal power. So it's almost like I see it before where it had been different parts of you and you almost compartmentalize them, right? And now I feel that they're all kind of coming together and you're shedding some of that insecurity that you may have had and shedding some of that wanting to be liked or needing those people to make you feel connected. But I feel like you're starting to trust your own connection so strongly that it's really raising your vibration and shifting your vibration. So it's becoming more clear for you, a very pure connection that I'm seeing. So, I mean, without a doubt, I want you to really work on your intuition and your psychic, because I believe that you're absolutely psychic. I think you're just not understanding yet kind of what does that mean for you. But you're going to start to see that you're linking things together and it's going to work. But I feel like business-wise, I just feel like you are going to be such a creator. And I see a book for you. So I don't know if you've started to write this book or been thinking about a book, but I keep seeing you write a book. And I feel like the book is all about the embodiment of empowerment. So it really is about coming together to really accept ourselves fully, accept ourselves as a being, so to speak, and a powerful person. And I feel like that's going to help you move forward and being able to speak about it, talk about it, and really get you to also travel. So I feel like the travel is going to be coming in more for you, but more on these speaking engagements. I feel like you're going to be doing talks or workshops. So is that something you've thought about, Venus, or something that's been on the back of your minds?
Absolutely, because I've been a content creator for 13 years, but I'm British, I live in Spain. So at first I was kind of more focused on doing stuff in Spanish in Spain. And then I was doing stuff in English now, but I didn't really know which direction to go in because I've got so many different interests. I started writing a book. I've already published books here in Spain, but I want to write something bigger. And I started writing a book called No Filter, which is literally I woke up every morning and started writing how I felt and things that were inspiring me. I've written 69 pages. I want to get to 100, but I'm not quite ready to finish it yet. And I also I'm on a journey about, I'm starting to make more lifestyle content because I have really
Yeah.
interesting lifestyles, very healthy, and I think I have a lot of self-love, and I want to share this side of me a bit
Well,
more.
I also, can I go into romance if you don't
Oh,
mind?
please, everything, anything,
Okay,
bring it on.
okay. I keep feeling, so I feel that you're single. Would I be correct, Venus?
Yes,
Am I
yeah.
not? Okay, because I see this crazy, passionate love affair coming in. It's so, I just feel like it's with a person that I feel that is very strong. It's almost like they need to be strong in order to handle your strength, right? I just feel like, and I see them, I see it, I see it being very passionate. I see it being very sexual, but in a beautiful way, where it's sexual, like, and passionate with words and connecting and bonding. And it literally could be this beautiful experience where you're just holding one another. And yet it's powerful and magnetic. And there is this strong pull to the mountains, to water, to just to the outdoors with this person as well. So I feel that I just feel that this is coming in, and I feel like this is coming in the next year. In the next year, it might even be sooner than a year, because I just feel like you're. It's almost like, and I hate to be. See, this is where I kind of hate to be so airy fairy or whatever. But it's almost like the lotus, your little lotus is opening and blossoming. Like, it's almost like you are letting your own, you're owning your femininity and power. You're owning it like you've never owned it before. And I feel like that's opening it up, where I feel like that just pulls this person in. And I feel like it's going to be a very, very magnetic connection. And I feel like it's going to be very powerful, very strong, and very inspirational. And I feel like you're going to be with, this is your person. You're going to create together. I feel like they're going to want to create with you.
Yeah, because I've been doing this massive journey myself. I mean, and the self-love is something that's affected my relationships. I've been very lost for many years about not knowing what I wanted. And I've been maybe an avoidant attachment, having an avoidant attachment style. But I feel now that I'm overcoming that, and the kind of guy I want to attract is becoming more apparent to me, because I'm.
Can I tell you what I see?
Yeah.
I just felt like, to me, he takes care of himself as well. But he's very, he's such a sexual being. Like, I can't, that word just keeps coming in, and I mean that because it's like he's in touch. He's in touch with who he is. It's a little bit like I don't know the word I'm looking for. Almost like a little bit still of a caveman. There's a little bit of that to him. And I just see him having dark hair. I feel like he's got dark hair. And I just feel like when he holds you, he holds you. There's a strength to him. You can lean on him. There's this, the bodies are going to be so, the souls are going to be so connected. You're going to do something with this breathing journey with him. Maybe you go on a breathing journey and that's how you meet him. I can't quite figure it out, but there's definitely this kind of ebb and flow, yin and yang. I can't wait till you have it so that you can go, Colby, oh my gosh.
Because I've been doing this thing called sex magic for several years. And,
Okay.
and it's been working really well for me. But ever since I had a spiritual awakening, my understanding and expression of sexuality has changed a lot. And I gave workshops about sex magic. And I just feel that the kind of guy who's on Tinder and having serial sex and watching loads of porn is not the kind of guy I want. I want a guy who knows that this is not the way, who understands, because I'm more into spiritual. I'm not like an airy fairy tantric person, but I'm more into that side of things.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. That it's going to be very much like that. So even when I do this, there's so much energy. So you're going to see, and with even out touching each other energetically. You're going to be able to push, and he's going to feel it's going to be very much this. So there is going to be a lot of energy work together without touching. There's going to be a lot of breathing work. I feel like you're going to teach workshops together. And then, of course, there's going to be that magic element that you've already experienced and talked about with it as well. So I feel like he's going to have some tattoos too. I'm just feeling like there's something about a tattoo.
Oh, wow. So do you think it's
Yeah.
someone I'm going to meet through work or someone I know already, or?
I don't feel you know him already. I do feel like it's about you meet him through living. It's through you getting out and living being more outdoors, going onto the finding like retreats or workshops, like going onto these experiences, your day to day. It's just being more aware, and I feel like he just comes in naturally that way.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, yeah. It's gonna be very magical. Yeah, it's gonna be. I feel like you're just gonna be in this really beautiful, committed relationship.
So I've been
Yeah.
holding off. Anything else you can see from
I
me?
just feel like financially, things are going to come into play for you. Just start really noticing the number 22. I feel like you get the number 22. You're going to get the number 22 a lot, and that's just showing you're in alignment, that your team is around you. Your team, like, yes, you're on point, stay with it. So just keep noticing the 22 that will be coming in for you, okay?
So do you think I'm actually creating, I've been through a lot of changes professionally this year, and I'm starting to create some kind of let's talk sessions through Zoom, so I can talk about magic or even sex toy consulting. So I've been a designer, or veganize your life, or there's all these different interests. So I'm going to start trying to monetize my platform already, because I really want passive income, and I want kind of more, and I'm going to design a course for sex magic. So I want to kind of like have more things on my own platform that can elevate me rather than...
I feel like the sex magic is really, there's something very special about it. And it is interesting because of the intuition and this psychic faculty that I feel like is blossoming. It's going to transcend a little bit. I feel like it is going to change a little bit, but I feel like it is going to be so popular if you really put yourself into it and develop it and put it out there. Really get it kind of quote unquote marketed. But I do feel like it's something that could be so universal and so connective. And I feel like it's very, very needed. And it's almost like, I don't know what it's about because I haven't seen it, but I feel like I want to talk about it in parts, where part is, the sexuality and sex magic of oneself, us and our connection. Now with a partner as well, and the different stages of partnership, and how do we kind of connect all of it. So I feel like there's actually different levels of it that you're going to be able to teach, like almost the beginner, the intermediate, we've been in this a long time. How do we research? How do we reinvent? How do we, kind of peel away? So I feel like there's actually going to be levels to it.
Yeah, up till now, my practice is a solo practice. So it's something that I only teach as a solo thing, It's not something I teach for couples or that I practice as part of a couple.
Oh, you're going to see it's going to end up being, I feel like, yes, it may be solo and people, but I feel like you're absolutely going to get to couples and groups, teaching it as a group as well.
Oh, perfect.
Yes. So, did you enjoy that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm excited because I'm kind of like working on a lot of changes right now, and I can feel myself a lot of kind of intuition about what's right and what's not, and yeah, because I lost one of my biggest clients at the beginning of the year, and it just kind of like made me feel very, very unsettled because I was I was in the comfort zone for the last 2 or 3 years. I was earning a lot, not working much, I was very comfortable, and then that was kind of lost, and now I feel that I went to do a retreat, and I did some forest bathing about 2 weeks ago, and we all had to like find a tree to connect with us, and the message that I received was, you weren't going to reach your potential in that other
That's
situation.
right.
So now I can, and I'm kind of comfortable now. So I'm trying to like think about what do I really want to do, and I'm just making the steps to make it all happen. Yeah.
Absolutely. And one thing too is spirit will do that. I'll tell you a quick little story to just validate the tree because it's unbelievable how powerful trees are. So I was renting this home before I had a commercial space for my business. Rented a home and it had a back studio and I was teaching and working. And there was this beautiful tree in the backyard. It was like 100 years old. And there was this storm here. I mean, it's LA. You don't get crazy storms. But this storm knocked this huge tree over. And it was so sad for me. Not too long after that, I went to Miami for work. It was like 2 in the morning. I go to open up the front door and I hear from Spirit, this is not your home anymore. And I was like, oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no, no. And I was like, I am not going anywhere till I know why. And 2 days later, I woke up to the message because you cannot grow here anymore.
Oh.
And so that tree, that growing, it is when it's time to expand, the universe and spirit, they will remove what keeps us complacent, what keeps us anchored in the place we are no longer supposed to be residing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I understand that. Because even though you take things personal, but then you realize
Yes.
that you were never going to do all these wonderful things if you were comfortable.
Exactly. So it's just new beginnings for you. But I feel like also because it kept you safe, I'm not so sure you were going to meet your person. But because you have to take chances and grow, because of now what's coming in, I feel like that's when this relationship comes in.
Oh, exciting. Well, I'll let you know how it
Yes.
goes.
I can't wait. I cannot wait. Yes.
A couple of very quick questions. What's the book that changed your life?
The book that changed, honestly, and it might sound a little, there's two. One is So You Want to Be a Medium. I thought that was a really good book because I could read that. It's by Rose, and it might be McMillan. I might have the last name, but her first name is Rose or something with Rose. So You Want to Be a Medium, just because when I read that book, I really was like, oh yeah, that I could connect and honest and understood everything. I was already going through it. One of my other favorite books is called The One Thing. Now that's more of a practical book, but I just found it to be so incredibly powerful and healing, like in a way of how I organize my day. How do I move my business forward? How do I organize my thoughts? And I found that to be very, very strong as well. And the 5-second rule by Mel Robbins is also a favorite of mine.
Oh, that's great. There's a great selection. I've heard about those, The One Thing.
Yes, yeah, it's very good. I love it. So, absolutely.
You can recommend any book for me as part of my journey?
I feel like as part of your journey, have you read The Untethered Soul?
No, but I'll write it down.
Okay.
Okay. I've heard the title before.
Yeah, I feel like you might really enjoy that, and it really is about freedom. And so I feel like that might work. That might be nice for you.
Oh, perfect. So,
Yes.
So what phrase or affirmation do you live by? Do you have a special affirmation or a quote or a philosophy?
I kind of do because I did, when I very first started this 10 years ago, I came across this phrase, and I believe it was from Walt Whitman. I may be wrong, so please forgive me if I am. I had it ingrained in a rock, and I still have that rock in a restroom for all my clients and students to see. And it says, do what makes you most afraid.
Oh, wow.
And I found that to be very powerful. Do what makes you most afraid.
So does being a psychic make you afraid?
Not being a psychic to this day, it did initially, right? Like, are you kidding? Like, I'm moving out of the safety and the comfort, and I've got this cushy cush job. I have vacation pay, sick pay. I ran it. I could have been a partner, I'm sure, at some point. Giving all of that up to like now Dude, this was crazy to me, but I would never ever change it because I've never felt more free, and I've had the most beautiful, beautiful, wonderful, and abundant life, and I would have never lived the way I was supposed to if I had stayed in that. And so each and every day, I put myself out there. What makes me afraid? Let's try something new. Putting yourself out there, going for it, and I encourage everyone to do what makes you most afraid.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes, yes.
So where can people find you?
So the website is colbyrebel.com. You can find me there. I have classes there. You can book a session there. There's the Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Psychic Rebel, Colby Rebel. You can just find me there. So you guys can look for me. Always just make sure you find the right profile, right? There's so many imposters out there, but you'll be able to see that it's the right one. And also, just Venus, for anyone of your listeners, if they do book a session, tell them to use the code, all capitals, Venus10. That will give them 10% off, just for them being loyal listeners of yours.
Oh, fantastic. Let's hope lots of people go there.
Yes.
And also you have your own podcast.
Yes, the Colby Rebel Show, and we do it Thursdays at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And sometimes I have a guest on, or a lot of times I do a date night because we just tap in and do readings, whether they're psychic or mediumship. And we really have a lot of fun. I have the most amazing listeners. They're so sweet and special and kind. And so yes, everyone's more than welcome. It's on Facebook, or it's on all the platforms, the Apple, iTunes, all of that. So yeah, you can absolutely find it there as well.
Perfect. So thank you so much for joining us today on the Orgasmic Lifestyle Podcast. It's definitely been a pleasure.
It's been such a pleasure, Venus, and thank you so very, very much. And have a beautiful day.
The book I'm reading now is The 4 Agreements, A Practical Guide to Personal Freedom by Don Miguel Ruiz. This is a very small, cute book, and this has been on my to buy list for a very long time on Amazon. It's actually a lot smaller than I thought. And I was talking to a friend the other day, and he told me that I really should read this book. And I thought, you know what, now is the time, because I'm going to be going on a little trip in a couple of days, and I think this is going to be the perfect companion for my travels. And the 4 agreements, I'm going to go over what those 4 agreements are. I haven't started reading the book yet, but I have read what the actual 4 agreements are, and I'm going to read it to you. So the first agreement is, be impeccable with your word. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. I think it's fantastic that's fantastic advice, and we should never talk badly about ourselves. I was watching a video the other day with some spiritual leaders, and they talked about sarcasm, about how we shouldn't use it, as it's kind of like, it's a kind of negative, especially when we speak about ourselves. We try to be funny, but it's kind of quite negative, really. It's saying that I'm not worthy, or I can't remember exactly how they phrased it, but it did make me rethink how I speak about myself. And also gossip about others. It's always a red flag for me when I hear other people gossip about third parties. I just think they're probably doing the same with me when I'm not here. I think it's really something we should be careful of. And I think when we speak of other people, if we have a problem with them, it's okay to express that, but we also have to kind of acknowledge our part in it as well. I recently met a couple of guys who were just really bitching about their exes, and it just, for me, was a real red flag, because I think we can all deal with difficult people in our lives, but I think we have to be aware or conscious about our role in toxic relationships, or what we brought to the table, or what someone else would say about us. It's not always someone else's fault. I think there has to be some responsibility somewhere. And also, if someone's upset you, I think the focus should be on talking about how you feel rather than criticizing someone else's actions or words. And also there's an expression that I really love that is, small minds talk about people, mediocre minds talk about events, and great minds talk about ideas. And that really is fantastic. I went for dinner last night with someone who was just on a really high vibe, And there's no way there was no gossip. It was all ideas, ideas, ideas. And it's just fascinating and stimulating to have conversations with people who were on that level as well. And the second agreement is don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. That's interesting. When I've had people around me who are in bad moods for whatever, and I can see them projecting, for me it's kind of like I take a step back and not try and get into some ego argument with them. I think it's very healthy to see that as well, and see how people, when they are negative, it's just their own thing. It's not about you. So that's a very good piece of advice. And the third one is don't make assumptions. I think this is a fantastic piece of advice, and I'm going to read the little blurb what it says here. Find the courage to ask questions and express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. I think this is fantastic advice. Don't make assumptions, because we always make assumptions, let's say in the world of texting and WhatsApp, when we message someone or we email someone, we make these assumptions about how they're going to reply or why they haven't replied. I think this happens a lot. And I always think it's best to give people the benefit of the doubt. I know that when I've been very busy and people have made assumptions about me being in a bad mood with someone because I haven't written back within 10 minutes, I just think, come on, give me the benefit of the doubt, please. And I think we are, inundated with messages on several platforms. It's a bit difficult to pay attention to everything and everyone in our lives, but we should never assume what someone else is what their thought patterns behind their actions are. Always give the benefit of the doubt. And last but not least, the fourth agreement, always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick. Under any circumstance, simply do your best and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. Fantastic piece of advice. I think we should always do our best. And yeah, I'm trying to do my best in this podcast episode today. So I hope you appreciate it. Anyway, that is the book I'm reading now, which is The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And I still haven't started it, but I am very intrigued to see how I'm going to apply all of this to my life. Now it's time to slow things down as we prepare for this episode's guided affirmations meditation. It's probably not a good idea to listen to this while driving or operating machinery. Instead, take a break from whatever you're doing, get comfortable, take a deep breath, and enjoy. I am looking forward to the future. I invest in my future. I accept what is on its way to me. What I do today will influence my future. My possibilities are endless. I am grateful for my future gifts. I am planting the seeds for a wonderful future. I am looking forward to the future. I invest in my future. I accept a future full of love and joy. I release the past and forgive everyone, including myself. I attract success and prosperity with all my ideas. The future holds many possibilities. I am planting the seeds for a wonderful future. I am looking forward to the future. from this moment forward. My future is going to be very bright. I am planting the seeds for a wonderful future. I am looking forward to the future. I invest in my future. I envisage a future that is full of love. Today I will do something that my future self will be proud of. Every day I do something that is helping me to accomplish my dreams. I live in the present with great expectations for the future. I am planting the seeds for a wonderful future. I am looking forward to the future. I invest in my future. Wonderful things are on the horizon. My future will exceed all of my expectations. The best is yet to come. I am optimistic about my future. I am planting the seeds for a wonderful future. I am looking forward to the future. I invest in my future. When I am fully present and in the moment, the future will take care of itself. My future is beautiful and bright. I'm excited about what is in store for me. I am worthy of my future desires. I am planting the seeds for a wonderful future. Did you know that you can use your sexual energy to manifest the life of your dreams? It's called sex magic. I've been practicing sex magic for almost 5 years and it's changed my life. If you're interested in one-to-one magic mentoring with me, visit my website venusohara.org to find out more. To find out more about me and my orgasmic lifestyle, visit venusohara.org or follow me on Instagram at instagram.com/venusohara. Make sure to search for the Orgasmic Lifestyle Podcast by Venus O'Hara in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Make sure to click subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Thanks for listening, have an orgasmic week, and make sure every day is a climax.